Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the webinar. And we have a fabulous topic today. How is AI impacting channel engagement? And people are actually going to share actual tactics they're using to help people run their channel programs more effectively. So before we start, just going to run through a couple of housekeeping issues before I introduce our panelists to you. And our first panelist is Harbinder Kira, and Harbinder is the CEO and founder of MindMatrix. He's got over 20 years of experience in sales, marketing, and channel enablement software and solutions. He's provided IT consulting services to Southwest Airlines, Nationwide Insurance, IBM, Siemens, Citibank, and Sprint. And in just a few moments, I'll ask Harbinder to tell you a little bit about MindMatrix. Our second panelist is Pawan Kumar Adar, and he's the Senior Director of Product Management at Salesforce. And he's Senior Director of Product Management in Sales Cloud. He's been with Salesforce for 6 years, managing multiple projects such as CPQ and billing, prospecting, and proactive monitoring. He's a husband and father of 2 kids. Pawan, we have something in common. He loves motorbikes, so do I, and long walks. And our third panelist is Richard Flynn. He's the partner and CMO of Spur Reply, and he's a founder of the Spur Group, an industry veteran with nearly 30 years experience. During that time, he's helped many, many companies in the tech industry shape and execute their channel strategies and go-to-market approaches. Currently, the Spur Group has nearly 250 go-to-market employees sharing their expertise across a range of sales, marketing, channels, operations, and data projects. He's a firm believer that we may face a new renaissance of channel innovations as companies redefine their go-to-market approach, as cloud solutions, AI, and remote working become the norm. In his off time, Richard focuses on family, painting, and architecture. But before we ask those guys just to tell you a little bit more about their companies, I'd just like to do a little bit of housekeeping. So Sarah, next slide. So just a reminder, we're all seeing dramatic changes in, and we'll be sharing some of those changes in this webinar, in the way we implement the kind of technology that's available to us to help us manage our partners and manage that partner engagement in a more and more positive way. And at Partner TechX on the 28th to 30th in Coronado Bay, California, all of the vendors, all of the people able to help you implement those solutions will be in one place at one time. So a really, really important event to understand all of the capabilities that I think are going to be critical to people on the call in moving their career forward. Part of that is going to be understanding what these technologies are. And if you register by next Friday and put in the code FlashPTX, you will be able to attend the event for just $595, a saving of $400. So write down FlashPTX, pop that in when you register. We want this to be as interactive as possible. So we have a chat facility, as everyone does on these things, but we want this to be really interactive. So come in with comments, with chat, and really participate in what we're doing today. And I'm going to ask each of these gentlemen to very quickly introduce their business. And so, Pawan, Salesforce is a huge organization, but what's your part of Salesforce and what exactly is it that you do?
Hey, Rod. Yeah, specifically, I work on the partner relationship management product. I'm the lead for that product. For people who don't know PRM, it is part of the Sales Cloud, and being true to the story of Sales Cloud, we want to help businesses do both indirect and direct sales on our platform, and PRM is an extension for businesses to manage their indirect sales, which is their partner ecosystems and so on.
Excellent. And Harbinder, MindMatrix, tell us a little bit about MindMatrix.
Sure. Harbinder Khera, founder, CEO of MindMatrix, started this company almost 28 years ago. So MindMatrix, we provide the platform to enable entire ecosystem, partner ecosystem. So when you think about ecosystem, you have traditional transactional channel partners, and then you have partner alliances and ISVs, and then you have influencers. So MindMatrix provides one platform that does the enablement for channels, the partners, and influencers in one box.
Fabulous. And Richard, tell us a little bit about Spur.
Yeah, so I think I'm unique in that we are actually a consulting firm rather than a vendor of a technical solution. But we're brought in primarily to help companies with their go-to-market approach, including their channel offerings. So when they need help in figuring out what's their strategy, how are they going to do enablement, how are they going to manage their partner databases, things along those lines, we're quite often brought in to provide some expertise and speed along their implementation and make sure that they're doing it in a fast, effective way.
Excellent. And one of the things we want to do on the webinar is really get specific. So one of the things we've asked our panelists to do is prepare just short examples of what they're doing and some of the capabilities they have. So we're not going to be airy-fairy and fluffy on this webinar. We're going to be really specific. And I'm going to start with Pawan, who's prepared a very cool synopsis of some of the things that they're doing with their customers. So Sarah, if you could just run Pawan's video, and then we can talk a little bit about that.
When we look at leveraging AI for channel engagement, we break the innovations into 3 categories. First, using predictive AI in PRM to get better leads into your partner's hands. This is the same pipeline inspection view that your internal users have access to. This is great, and this is the exact opposite of the spreadsheets that might or might not be updated. Now, this data that is flowing in is real time, coming directly from my vendor CRM, and the partners can simply trust it. Partners can quickly see the deals that they should be spending their time on. For example, here, you're seeing Einstein recommending a score based on different signals that are already there in the CRM. Now, we also go ahead and provide you next best actions that you could take, looking at different signals in your opportunity or your contact conversations that you're having until now. Now, this functionality can be simply turned on and is immediately ensure that the data and AI is helping your partners work faster. Second, using generative AI in PRM to speed up your partner selling. Now, let's explore how partners can 2x their speed with selling through generative AI features, which we have introduced in PRM. Now, with a few clicks, the partners can now generate new outreach emails or reply to an inbound email. The email generated is grounded on the activity and contact data, and partners can simply use some of the standard prompts that we ship out of the box, or they could always create one of their custom prompts and give instructions based on the need of the hour. For example, here the partner has given a custom prompt, and by hitting draft email, Einstein would be looking at the contact data and the activity data and generate a context-aware email that could be sent to the contact right now. Now, last one, using Agentforce in PRM to enable every partner be the best rep. Running with AI means using it to enable every partner to be your best rep. Imagine if I am a new rep and who needs to learn more about the product we are selling, I could quickly hop onto the portal and chat to the Agentforce, who is available for me 24/7. I can ask product questions, tiering program questions, or pricing questions, and the agent would be looking into my CRM data and also the third-party data that I have fed in via RAG and give me context-aware responses. Here, I've asked about a specific product, and as you can see, Agentforce was able to give me the exact information in a right format, in a structured way, so that it is easy for me to consume. Last, next, in our newest innovation, we are bringing the coaching into PRM. Your partner reps can be given the same powerful selling tools as an internal sellers do. With partner coaching, partner reps can practice sales pitch, hone their negotiations using role plays. The coach uses the opportunity data, so it is already know what is the stage of the deal and what are the objections that are being flagged, and hence will guide you to close the deal. Here's a quick demo. As a partner, I am seeing the coach prompt me to take an action. I could select the kind of practice or coaching I would need from this agent, and let me say I want to practice a pitch. From here, I can quickly go on, and right within my portal, I could start a session with my Agentforce to give me coaching. We here at Salesforce are super excited with all the opportunities that lie in front of us when it comes to AI actually delivering insightful information and revolutionizing how vendors manage their partner ecosystem.
Excellent. So, Pooran, a couple of questions from that. You talk about signals. What do you actually mean by signals? What are they? Where do they come from?
Yeah. For us, signals are any information that is available for the agent or for the AI to give like a more succinct and accurate information to the customers, users, whoever that is. These signals, for example, could be the conversations are that you have been having with the individuals. This could be information about some of the, let's say, deal related information, negotiations or pricing concerns and so on. And this could also be like some click event coming from any place. So anything that can help you create like a more succinct response is what we treat as a signal.
Excellent. And Richard, you're very much involved in marketing. Everyone's talking about generative AI. What are some of the really innovative things that you're seeing from a marketing perspective that people are utilizing AI to enable?
You know, I think that what was shown is really powerful and something that people should be using. You know, most of your underlying infrastructure systems like Salesforce.com now have capability of doing basic analytics within the data set that they have. And so their ability to create a machine learning algorithm that helps match partners with opportunities, helps present content with use case scenarios, things along those lines, is dramatically improving on almost a daily basis. And this really changes the experience that your people internally are having when they need to find information or select a partner. And it helps partners with their experience when they're really trying to engage with you. And it really, you know, simplifies things for everybody and allows people to be a lot more productive.
Excellent. And Harbinder, a question for you. One of the other things we hear talked about a lot is predictive AI. What is predictive AI, and how are you seeing your clients using that?
So it's so one thing that we have done is, you know, obviously to do the prediction, there are a lot of different models. You know, you have linear regression models. There are many different models, and all these LLMs that is you could do a prediction with the ML models. So with the LLM bringing some of the libraries of prediction models, what it does, you can feed in the data, and we actually, as part of the demo, we're going to demonstrate that you can feed in all the deal reg info, the opportunity information, or the MDF information into the data set, and you can have the system predict what the partners are going to produce in 2025 or 2026. Now, and the important thing is where the LLM comes in, the generative AI, it actually will tell you the reason why and why not. It's not just giving the number, but the summarization exactly why it thinks you know, the partner's not going to produce or produce differently. So that's what we you know, that's where we stand from the prediction perspective. The important thing is, from the AI point of view, it's the game of data. It's, you know, and when we're looking data set, we need to think about, you know, the two kinds of data sets for even prediction or running any kind of model. One is the unstructured data that we see in the documents, a lot of unstructured data. And then is the structured data. The structured data is that Salesforce has, you know, in the objects, and we have in our objects, you know, the POS data, the CRM data, the opportunity, whatever. That's a lot of structured data. So how do you marry the unstructured data and the structured data in the most effective way? So what do you end up doing is you denormalize your structured data to utilize as part of the LLM to do the prediction and the analytics across the board. So that's how we see it.
Okay. And Pawan, if I can bring you in, one of the other things that's being talked about a lot are agents, bots, agentic AI. What's the difference between a bot, an agent, and agentic AI, and how do you see those being used?
Very good question, Rod. So the way we are looking at it, and this is how we differentiate, is a bot for us was a very purpose-built, like, you know, it was, you pretty much like have to feed like all the responses and all the, I would say, we kind of cornered like, you know, the tokens and everything for it to really understand what is getting asked. And let's say if you ask a question outside the core questions that is being trained on, the bot could not answer. So these are like very specific ones. with the whole LLM, with the whole chat GPTs of the world and all that stuff, the biggest thing, the biggest advantage that we had is now most of these models are able to understand, are able to ingest like the exact intent behind the question, and they're able to give the answers. And they are able to they are able to go to the right data sources, consume the data, and then structure in a way that response that actually works. So the biggest difference, if you ask me, is bot, though it's AI, it's a dumber version. The agents, or what we call as agentic versions and all that stuff, are the next, is almost like getting us closer to where we want to go with AGI, where it is able to think, it's able to really look at different sources, pick the right information, also come up with what we call as a analysis plan, saying that, okay, I'm going to take information here, this is how I'm going to digress, this is how I'm going to like put a structure and give you an answer irrespective of what is being asked. Maybe you can ask something that it has never been trained on, but using the generative LLMs, it is able to give you the answer.
Fabulous. I got a couple of questions coming in that I do want to pick up on. What's an example of unstructured data? Harbinder, do you want to jump in on that one quickly?
So unstructured data is an example of the data you have in the documents. Okay, simple as that. You have product spec sheets, you have marketing information, you have data on the websites, you have data on LinkedIn. All that is unstructured data. So there's not normalized. So that's the example of the data set. So that's an example of unstructured. Okay. Now, I want to quickly, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and we've got a sort of supplementary question to that, which came in earlier, is what challenges are you guys seeing in terms of preparation of data for AI analytics? What are the key challenges there?
So I'm gonna, and Pawan, you can jump definitely into this. So we've spent a lot of time thinking about data. So actually, this is really, we focus on LLMs, but the focus should be on the data. Okay. So, and how you actually use this data set. So a couple of things. When you think about data governance, privacy, and what you send to LLMs, the important thing is how you manage this data, how you vectorize, how you do the semantic search on this data set. And you break this down into smaller chunks of information. And that is what you send out to LLM for summarization or take actions on it. Okay, so important thing about the data is the governance and control around it, because you have a lot of data, so and people want to use this data, so you want to make sure the right person has access to the data first. As an example, in the partner world, let's say you're doing a product launch and you have data on laptops, and that product or a solution is only available in EMEA, not available in the US. So if a partner is trying to find that information or do something with this, first you got to make sure the partner has access to that data set. So you want to do a proper governance and control. That is the key on the data. And how the data is stored in an AI world where actually most of the data set is actually vectorized, outside. And then what you use. So the key is once the controls are in place, then depending upon the permission, you send the selected pieces, what is relevant, to the LLM for summarization. So Pawan, you want to definitely add to it. So that's on the unstructured, but on the structured side, obviously that because that is also key, that how you take the structured data combined with the unstructured. So we denormalize it and use that data as part of the semantic search as well. So Pawan, if you want to add to it how Salesforce is doing, that'd be great.
No, absolutely. And I think the way I think about this specifically is, I think all the models and everything are in ways kind of getting commoditized, right? Like you can go ahead and create the model. The power lies in the data that you have. The power lies in like the data you're able to convince your partners as well as internal teams to keep adding into the system. And it's an old age saying, right? Like garbage in, garbage out. And our goal is to make sure that like there is no garbage in, right? So that the model is able to give you the exact answers that you need. For example, I'd give I think Harbinder just talked about like documents, right? If you feed in like wrong documents, or someone's talking about email exchanges, exactly. Email exchanges also are kind of unstructured data. wrong information going into the model, that means that the model is getting grounded on that data. And then that means that, let's say if I'm asking about some pricing or some product information, it will be just giving me wrong data. So I think this is where I think the systems like PRM, systems like MindMetrics are very important, because this is how vendors can actually persuade their channel ecosystem to start pushing in data into one stream, so that now you're able to create a model that actually works irrespective with the data that is inside as well as outside. Richard, any thoughts on this? Like I'm maybe any real life examples on like how AI is used by some of our customers in there?
Yeah, I think, what we're seeing is that, again, to talk about the bots and all these different things is, you can have bots reach out to people to help them do training. If they're not selling a product, or if they've, passed a milestone or something along those lines, you can have automated bots that will go out and do the outreach. Likewise, it's tied to the emails. Not every business development rep is always good at following up with people. Having some AI conversational engine, to help with your emails, all of those types of things, we're seeing people begin to get right now. If I could, I'd also like to address the two questions that Badri, you brought up.
I was just about to ask you about those, Richard.
Yeah.
So you stole the words right out of my mouth.
I think that there's two parts to the first question, which was, are vendors able to effectively drive AI adoption, by their channel partners? I think they're really effective when the AI is embedded in the technology solution that they're selling. So when they're providing the value of the product to the customer, that's an area that they're very, very good at being able to train people on. When it is more about their own individual use of a technology, so that they are able to get more success around using AI technology in the marketplace, what we found, and unfortunately, this is on 30 years of experience, is that there's always about 20% of your channel base that's really eager to learn, to change, to adopt, and build on the new tools. And then there's 80% which are really comfortable with the way that they do business. And it doesn't mean that they won't move to the tools, but you're going to spend a lot of energy on trying to get those people and probably not get the payoff. So we almost always see that vendors are most successful when they provide a path, but they don't kind of force everybody to go down that path. And then they really reward and reinforce those partners that do go down the path. And that's usually the best way to get them to adopt these types of skills. And for most of the solutions that we're talking about, there are APIs or models that those partners can use the AI tools effectively. Now, sometimes it's not through their own tools. They might need to log on to the vendor portal to get access to some of the capabilities that are being demonstrated. But it is something that, for the most part, partners are able to adopt. But again, like I said, only about 20%, I would say, are pretty aggressive at adopting that technology.
Okay.
Yeah,
And Richard, you had a nice example for us of some stuff. So I'm going to ask Sarah to pop up your slides, and if you could walk them through that example, that would be brilliant.
Yeah. So, when this was happening, and we were asked on this, I thought really hard of what's something that's really something you guys can use today. What's something that you can have some really meaningful impact. And we worked with a large chip manufacturer. Unfortunately, I have an NDA, so I can't tell you exactly who, and I can't show the work product, but I can talk through what it is that we did and how you can do something fairly similar. And so, in their sales enablement, like everybody, you've got a certification program, but you also tend to have on-demand videos or that type of thing that really are use case scenarios around the technology. And they had a library that was really over 100 videos that they had produced over a span of a couple of years. They were sometimes outdated, referenced, old products. They had different looks and feels behind them. They just weren't always what they wanted to do. And so they wanted to come in and really rebrand and redo their entire video library of sales enablement, technology. And like everybody these days, they're working with a limited budget. Everybody's under budget pressures. People tend to not have as much money today as they used to have in a couple of years for these types of things. So they had to figure out how to go do that with a very limited budget. And they had a very aggressive deadline. They were actually looking for 6 weeks to be able to do their first wave of these changes because there was a new product coming out. And so they were with a very, very tight deadline. And lastly, they really recognized that they would need to go in and update these videos on a regular basis because the technology is always changing. And sometimes there were errors or that they wanted to reposition or something along those lines. So it was something that they recognized was an ongoing investment. So they had a very strong set of challenges in terms of how they could go about doing this. And they really turned, to us, and we recommended an AI solution to help them solve this particular problem. So if we could move to the next slide, Sarah. And so what we recommended is a solution by a company called HeyGen that creates video software. There are a couple of competitors to HeyGen, Synthesia, a couple of other things that are out there. But basically what these are is, think of everything that you do in a studio when you are dealing with creating a video. You have talent, you have production, you usually have backgrounds that you want to do, you have audio, you have scripts, all of those types of things. And they're done in an engine that operates mostly like PowerPoint. So you can type in the script, you can put the bullets on the slides, you can determine whether or not you want a talking head or a spokesperson that you want to be having to give the video. And then what HeyGen does and these other softwares is they actually then render the videos for you. And so what they do is they actually create an end-to-end video that can be branded, that can be featuring an individual spokesperson, which is really an AI avatar. And it's a little spooky because at this stage of the game, you can see a picture of what the AI avatar looks like. I mean, they look and behave like a human. There's a little bit uncanny valley every now and then. So it's not that you can necessarily completely replace people, but for the most part, especially this type of video, there's no problem in generating your own spokesperson that can go do this. There's no studio involved, there's no actors involved, and perhaps most importantly, you can really go in and just by changing the script and re-rendering the video, you actually can make adjustments to the videos at any time as you move forward. And so what this company saw in terms of the results, okay, Sarah, if you can go to the next one. They originally felt that it would cost them about $500,000 to update these, traditional 100 videos if they were doing it involving talent and actors and things along those lines. They were able to reduce that spend by 90% and were able to do the entire of the project across 100 videos for $50,000. They were able to complete the project in 4 weeks, which was actually before the deadline that they had originally had that they thought was very aggressive. Most importantly for them, because they're an international company, in the past, they had provided these videos to their regional offices, and then their regional offices had translated them usually to local languages. But because the AI can render in 175 languages, they were actually able to render and have the native language being spoken in all of these videos across 175 different languages at no additional translation costs or other capabilities. And they had on-the-fly editing capabilities. So if something wasn't quite landing right, or they needed to tweak the wording, or they needed to introduce a new product, or they needed to retire a product, they could just go into the tool itself, change those things, and re-render the video. So all in all, they were really very effective at meeting their goal. And this is all something that you can do today. And so as you're looking at content and you're looking for video content and you're looking for something that you can actually do in a very meaningful way for people today, this is an example of how you can really do that in a very cost-effective manner right now.
Fabulous. And Pawan, if I can come to you, I want to implement some of this technology. I want to make it work. It's obviously not, I slap the technology onto what I've got at the moment and I'm going to get a great result. I'm not. What sort of preparation do I have to do? What sort of housekeeping do I have to do to really get the most out of the technology?
Yeah, this is actually a very fiercely debated topic inside a lot of our company actually. So see that like the way you could do it is that things like if you're just trying to do something on the surface, things just look simple. Like, why can't I just use like any of the available libraries out there and just, create my own AI agent? But I think what we realized is that as and when you kind of start peeling the layers of AI and you start going into like, how do I test it? Like, is the AI making sure that it is embedded with the trust so that like, it is not taking any of your customers' PII data and putting into the global model that is available for everyone else to do it. And there are cases for that, right? I think once you start getting into the nitty-gritties of it, that's when you start realizing how complex the implementation starts becoming. And and that's where I think there is some thought to be put in terms of do I want to DIY my agent or DIY my AI, or should I use some of the out of the box solutions being provided by companies to solve for partner use cases and so on, and then tune it for my needs? Again, just by providing an AI doesn't mean that the job is done, right? AI is one thing that just gives you like the foundation. It's your responsibility to make sure the AI actually works for you the way you want to work. So just going back again, yes, you could do it, but I think the biggest challenge is to really understand the whole cycle of like how are you going to maintain and how are you going to test it and make sure that the AI doesn't breach any of the trust barriers for your customers.
Super. And just before I introduce Harbinder, who's got some lovely case examples, just to comment to everyone, a lot of the comments are coming up as Margot Duval. We appear to have a Zoom problem where if you put in a comment in a number of cases, her name is being associated with it. It's actually a variety of people commenting, and we appear to have a Zoom issue on that front. So keep the comments coming through. And just before we bring up your video, Harbinder, that last question, any measurement on how the avatar characters in your videos were received? I've experienced some pushback on AI in the sales engagement process. Okay for chalk talks maybe, but perhaps not for a value prop.
Yeah, let me just answer that. I was just typing a reply. What we found is that when an avatar is used in a place that's about information exchange, it's not generally got a pushback on it. So like sales enablement, that's a fairly low level threshold for this type of thing, because people just see it as basically a prop when they're actually talking about a technology solution or they're walking through things along those lines. I think that when you are using them as a proxy for an individual that's really about trying to drive a relationship, that's when people have issues, because they're like, okay, how can we form a relationship which most people still define as a human relationship rather than a system relationship? And they're, and if you're faking it and being inauthentic with an avatar. So I think that the real key is recognize, is this video about building a relationship, or is this video about building an information exchange? And what we've seen is that when it comes to information exchanges, there's not a lot of pushback against them.
And is it also about honesty, Richard? I mean, for example, if you look at a lot of the things, for example, NVIDIA are doing where they're using agentic AI, they always have a cartoon character as the person that you're talking to, which for me makes it much more honest. It's very clear I'm not talking to a human being. It's also, in many ways, much more fun.
I think there's certainly something to that. I think that there's something to that because, one of the limitations of the AI avatars is people don't realize it, but people don't talk perfectly. They sometimes have mispronunciations. They have pauses. They have staggers in the way that they do things. They do awkward gestures. They blink and swallow at weird points in time. And so the avatars try to duplicate that, but that's where the uncanny valley comes in. They actually look good, but their mannerisms are a little off, or their nonverbal communication skills aren't quite there, and it just doesn't read right. And so you lose. It's funny because I have actually a friend who works in the entertainment industry around that, and it's one of the reasons why Pixar movies, they try not to make the characters look too human, because the more human they make them, the less real they become. I think that there's something definitely to what it is that you're saying.
Excellent. So Harbinder has a great couple of examples. So Sarah, if you could pop that up so everyone can see now.
So Sarah, before you play it, so let me just set the stage here a bit before you play. A couple of things. So Mind Matrix, when we looked at, in the world of ecosystem enablement, so we kind of broke a couple of use cases. One is in help, help about generic help in the product, help, we have information that you want to get from the brand, that is one. Second, all about solutions, solution selling, marketing, sales, and insight. So we've broken this down into multiple categories, and we're trying to offer AI as a service across the ecosystem. AI as a service across the ecosystem. And one of the things then when we looked at this problem, and there's a question about unstructured data sets, and one of the important things is that we wanted to have a separation of data sets. So you have, for example, in this example, you have Noda as a brand, and then there's separation between the Noda content, the partner content, VTech is a partner, and then you have a personal data, and then you have a public data. So how you can separate between these data sets and allow the partner or the user in the system that they can upload, manage their own data sets and use the technology around their data set. So for example, a partner sitting in EMEA wants to upload their own PDFs and information, and they want to create something off that data set. They don't want to use the information provided by the brand. Now, brand has the full control in place who can do what. So that is one of the big things about our service across the board. The second part, which is the question that was asked about, the effectiveness, how do you measure it? So we have put a lot of checks and balances in place, and we're watching all the responses. We put a dashboard so people can see the response coming back from the AI if it's actually matching it. So, and the other piece is the prompt engineering framework. So how do you build a prompt engineering framework across all these different areas within the product? Okay, so one is obviously the governance and control on the data set, giving flexibility to the partners to upload, manage their own data set for AI to drive the engagement. Then is all about governance, and then is measurement. And then is the prompt engineering to provide a better usability, user experience. So that is really the framework that we're offering. And so we look at the unstructured data, the structured data, and there was a question about email as an unstructured. Absolutely, it's unstructured data. So one of the things that we have done is not in this use case we're going to show you, email-based deal registration. So you can send an email to say dealreg@noda.com. It looks at the unstructured data that is coming in the email, reads through the AI, makes it structured, fills up the deal reg form, sends it to the partner, say, can you verify the data set? and then submits the deal and pushes to Salesforce. Just of the click of the button, so you can send unstructured data. The other part is with AI to drive partner engagement, the tools available now to bring the information to the partner versus the partner coming to you. And that is really the shift that is happening. The people coming to a portal, now I can ask all these questions right from my own environment. You can send an email, send me some information on XYZ product. And you can literally get that information as an attachment or as a link in your email. And that is really where the AI is playing a significant role, reading the unstructured data and normalizing it and providing the insight. So go ahead and Sarah. So I'll walk you guys through two different scenarios. One of the important things about the video here, it is recorded in AI. So basically the benefit is that we put a text in, and we got a speaker that is, you can pick any language, you can translate any language. So one video created one time, and you could have 50 different or 100 different outputs in multiple languages. So we wanted to have AI voice so you guys can hear it. So as part of a demo as well. So go ahead, Sarah, please.
Introducing Bridge AI. AI as a service across help, marketing, solutioning, sales, training, and data analytics in the partner ecosystem. Two key uses for the demo: multi-vendor marketing and sales content generation at scale, analytics and predictive tools to drive partner engagement. Introducing first use case: multi-vendor marketing and sales content generation at scale. Partner navigates to the solution hub to find the right solution. Views the solution details, including schematic with an interactive hotspot feature. Each hotspot provides specific information about different aspects of the product or a solution. Generate key hyper-personalized sales and marketing collateral based on the multi-vendor information associated with the solution by using AI. Bridge AI provides the capability to separate data sources with proper security and governance in place. Data organized by the brand, partner, personal, and public data. Inbuilt prompt and output format framework makes it easier for partners to select and create desired output. This process can also be used to create emails, proposals, quizzes, surveys, and other marketing assets. Create an email newsletter with additional options to edit the text, adjust styles, change tone or language, select design templates, and send email out. The second use case is on analytics and predictive tools to drive partner engagement. Channel or alliance managers can see partner analytics and predict partner performance based on historical data. Great insight for driving engagement. In the case use, it is a marriage between structured and unstructured data. Select partners based the permissions, geo region, North America, and analyze the data. Select a predefined prompt and ask the AI to predict a list of partners who will create opportunities and their dollar value in 2025. You will see predictions by AI based on linear regression. For instance, Intel, Tech, and CDI will generate a certain amount of opportunities. Similarly, you can also create pie charts and graph charts. Selecting a pie chart will generate an insight report in pie chart format, which provides an overview of the displayed data and detailed descriptions of the responses. In the same way, you can ask AI to predict which partner will be eligible for Market Development Fund in 2025. The AI will analyze all past data and find the right partner for you. This will help you make better decisions and invest in partners who are performing well.
Thank you. So this is just a couple of brief examples, and there are many different examples that, one of the other example that we have within MindMatrix is training, very big use case. We're implementing short-form video technology. And so the idea here is the bite-sized learning for partners, so used for partner communication, for sales enablement. So you're watching short form video. That's how the newer generation of folks consuming content. So what it does, looks at the information in the first 4 videos, and automatically AI generates the quiz or cert as part of the video content, the one you're going to watch, or one you have watched earlier. And you go through responses. If you pass that, it moves on to the next set of short form video. And if you fail that, it's going to serve you the previous short form video. So that is a great way of consuming content, because that's people now, if you look at in our space, under 45 people, a lot of people use reels and short form video. How do you leverage that and the AI at scale for bite-sized learning? So that's another example.
Okay. So we're almost out of time. So I want to come in with a couple of final questions. And Richard, if I could start with you. I personally believe that one of the key things a senior channel partner executive is going to have to understand moving forward is this technology, because it is going to replace a lot of what we do in terms of partner enablement, etc. What's your view on that?
Oh, I think that you're right. I know we've had this conversation, personally, but also, in a broader context. This is going to change the way that people work. It's going to do what the Microsoft Office products did for basic word processing and Excel and those types of elements, and how they really change the way that you did your job. AI is going to do the same thing. I think that the thing to keep in mind is in my book, it's a productivity tool rather than a replacement of person tool. It's a little misnamed, in my word, for being AI, because that implies it's a replacement, that this is somebody else's brain, rather than a human brain. And where we've seen it almost always works is when there's a human behind it, figuring out the processes, and then using the tool to flesh out between, beyond that. And it may change into something different in a couple of years, but at least right now, it's going to help you do an awful lot more with fewer resources.
Okay. And Pawan, if you look at this moving forward, it's moving very, very quickly. How do you think the move and the way that it's becoming more and more prevalent, is that going to drive down costs? So the actual cost of AI is going to dramatically reduce in a fairly short order?
Yeah, I think we should look at this in 2 lenses, Rod. I think the way we should look at it is definitely cost is one aspect of it. But I think, in my opinion, like maybe I'm biased, but the place where actually AI agents, all these things actually really shine is to build those, give that personal attention and do it at scale. Like, for example, like in the channel management ecosystem that we have, the biggest problem for most of the channel managers or the PAM is like to maintain those relationships at scale, right? Like, especially when you go to the tail end of like all the partners, it's very hard to keep that touch. Now, just imagine if you have agents that can actually at least take care of a lot of these, like, like let's say engagement, maybe answer a lot of these questions, so that your ecosystem can actually be more successful and the growth is more sustainable. So definitely there's a cost aspect of it. Definitely the conversations will become cheaper and all that stuff. But I think more important for me is that, like, how this can actually help really build and really make sure that the engagement actually goes up.
Okay. And Harbinder, we're looking at this. We're seeing major developments. Are we beginning to see, and indeed, as we saw with the cloud, we talked about born in the cloud partners. Are we beginning to see born in AI partners? And what are they? And how do we find them? How do we interact with those guys?
Sure. I want to address one or two points that I'm seeing in the chat. So number one, bringing AI, the cost of use of AI is coming down. Okay. And so that is number one. And there are a lot of legislative stuff happening in Europe, lesser in the US. So there's a lot of questions about trust and ethics. So one of the areas that we have seen as a roadblock for us is, in a sense, we're developing all these innovative tools and technologies, and we're asking our customers to use and implement and embrace them. And a lot of our customers, CSOs and security teams and other teams are still evaluating. They have not given us a green light to make it available in the ecosystem. So that is the other big piece that we're seeing is the internal security teams and other folks are, they're putting these technologies through a pretty strict lens, depending upon a company to company to company. Okay, so that is the other piece that, obviously there's a lot of legislative stuff happening in Europe. So you got to have, in terms of what BI data that goes into the AI side. So, so you have to keep that in mind. Okay. So that was the other question. I'm going to just answer, then come to this one quick question. The agent, obviously, as you put this governance and controls in place, this cannot go outside in the public domain and get the information. Okay. So if you let them go out in the public domain and there's a question asked, can the agents, stuff go in a public domain, you have to restrict it, because if more it goes in a public domain, chances of hallucination gets bigger. So you got to limit in terms of, how you minimize the hallucination. Now, coming back to your question, there's a rise of a lot of ISV partners, AI, using technology, AI. And that is in the world of partnerships, that is the alliance partnership. You're seeing that there are a lot of people, you talk born in the cloud, a lot of partners are born in AI now. And because of the availability of these LLMs and tools available, you're finding so many ISV partners available. And that is really the resurgence of alliance management that we're seeing, the solution management, how you bring and work with them in a co-creating or co-inventing products together with these partners. And the important thing is and then you have to facilitate collaboration with these partners, and bringing these partners who are the alliance partners or the born in the AI partners, and these are true partners, and making that information, the tools and solutions available to your transactional partners. You have an ecosystem of your transactional partners. So how do you bridge the gap on the alliance side and on the transactional partners that you have? How do you marry these two worlds and bring them together? So obviously there's a lot of account mapping, collaboration, solution selling, education enablement that brings the both sides together.
Brilliant. Richard, Harbinder, Pawan, thank you very, very much indeed. Fabulous session, lots of great examples, and lots of information for us in terms of the things we need to be prepared for and the things we need to be doing today. So thank you very, very much indeed. And as we finish, everyone will be faced with a survey. If you could please just take 2 minutes to complete that survey. We really, really want your feedback. Thank you so much, Harbinder, Pawan, Richard.
Thank you very much for having me.